You need to hear this. Before streaming, before binge culture, before you could pause, rewind, or skip ahead, there were shows that physically kept you on the couch. Shows where you planned your entire week around a single hour of television, because if you missed it, you missed it. No catch-up, no on-demand, no second chances. The 90s gave us dramas so gripping, so emotionally devastating that they didn't just entertain us, they changed us. They made us cry in front of our families. They made Thursday nights feel like a national event. We're counting down the 10 90s dramas that grabbed you by the heart and refused to let go. From number 10 all the way to the undisputed champion of 90s television drama. Let's get into it. Number 10. Chicago Hope, 1994 to 2000. Starting us off at number 10 is the show that had the worst luck in television history. Chicago Hope premiered on the exact same night as ER, both medical dramas, both set in Chicago hospitals, and ER absolutely steamrolled it in the ratings from day one, which is a tragedy because Chicago Hope was genuinely excellent. Mandy Patinkin played Dr. Jeffrey Geiger, a heart surgeon so intense that watching him operate felt like watching a man defuse a bomb with his bare hands. Adam Arkin, Hector Elizondo, and Mark Harmon all delivered career-best work. It won Emmys. It earned critical praise, but it lived forever in the shadow of the giant across the street. Creator David E. Kelley was running Chicago Hope, Picket Fences, and later The Practice. He was reportedly writing scripts for multiple shows in the same week. CBS moved Chicago Hope from Thursday to Monday specifically to escape ER's ratings dominance, and the show actually stabilized.
Me, when I bet my life on this roll, so let's keep the party polite.
Number 9 Walker, Texas Ranger, 1993 to 2001. We'll start by saying, rest in peace, Chuck Norris. Yes, Chuck Norris roundhouse kicked his way through problems that could have been solved with a phone call. Yes, the plots were predictable and the beard never moved. But here's what people forget. This show was a ratings monster. For 8 seasons, millions tuned in every Saturday night to watch Cordell Walker dispense frontier justice with his fists and an unwavering moral compass. It wasn't complicated. It wasn't morally gray. It was a man who knew right from wrong and punched wrong in the face. And for a decade, drowning in anti-heroes, that simplicity was genuinely refreshing. Chuck Norris performed the vast majority of his own stunts throughout the entire run. He was in his 50s and 60s during filming and refused to use a stunt double. He also insisted the show film in Texas rather than Hollywood, creating hundreds of local jobs over the show's run. Number 8. Homicide, Life on the Street, 1993 to 1999. If you know, you know. Homicide. Life on the Street was the most critically acclaimed drama that almost nobody watched. Based on David Simon's non-fiction book about the Baltimore Homicide Unit, the same David Simon who later created The Wire, this show was raw, uncomfortable, and absolutely uncompromising. Andre Braugher's performance as Detective Frank Pembleton is one of the greatest in television history. A brilliant, arrogant, deeply Catholic man who interrogated suspects with such intensity that the scenes felt like exorcisms. The famous box scenes, set entirely in the interrogation room, are still studied in acting classes today. Homicide was the blueprint. Without this show, there is no Wire, no True Detective, no prestige crime drama as we know it. The show used a distinctive handheld jump-cut visual style that was considered revolutionary for network television. Director Barry Levinson deliberately shot it to look like a documentary, not a TV drama. NBC executives reportedly hated the visual style and pressured the producers to make it look more normal. The producers refused. The show won a Peabody Award. The executives stopped complaining. Number 7. Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, 1993 to 1998. Dr. Quinn was the show your parents watched that you pretended not to care about, and then you got completely hooked. Jane Seymour played Dr. Michaela Quinn, a female physician from Boston who moves to a frontier town in Colorado Springs in the 1860s. Every episode she battled ignorance, prejudice, and the stubborn refusal of an entire community to accept that a woman could be a doctor. The show tackled racism, women's rights, and indigenous displacement through historical drama in a way that made difficult topics accessible without dumbing them down. And the slow-burn romance between Dr. Quinn and Byron Sully had an entire generation screaming at their television screens. It was wholesome, smart, and emotionally sincere in a decade that was increasingly cynical. Jane Seymour was so committed to the role that she learned actual period-accurate medical procedures for filming. The show employed a medical historian to ensure the treatments portrayed were consistent with 1860s medicine. When CBS canceled the show after season 6, the fan outcry was so massive that the network greenlit 2 television movies to give audiences closure, a rare concession that proved how deeply the audience was attached.
My family back together again.
Number 6. The Wonder Years, 1988 to 1993. The Wonder Years wasn't just a TV show, it was a time machine. Set in the late 1960s, it followed Kevin Arnold navigating adolescence, first love, family conflict, friendship, loss, while Vietnam played out on the evening news. The adult narrator, voiced by Daniel Stern, gave every episode a layer of bittersweet wisdom that hit differently depending on how old you were when you watched it. As a kid, you related to Kevin. As an adult, you understood the narrator. That dual experience made The Wonder Years immortal. The final episode, where the narrator reveals what happened to everyone, is still one of the most emotionally devastating endings in television history. Fred Savage was 12 when the show premiered, making him the youngest actor to receive a Golden Globe nomination for Best Actor in a Drama Series at that time. The pilot aired after the 1988 Super Bowl and drew over 30 million viewers. The licensing costs for the original 60s and 70s soundtrack became so expensive that they delayed the show's home video release for years. We're about to hit the top 5, and these are the dramas that didn't just define the decade, they defined the entire medium. If you're enjoying this countdown, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment telling me which 90s drama was your favorite.
Hey, you guys. Have you seen Kirk around? I'm supposed to meet him here. I don't think...
Number 5. Ella Law, 1986 to 1994. Elle, a law didn't just change legal dramas, it changed what television drama was allowed to be. Before this show, legal series were safe, procedural, and boring. LA Law mixed courtroom battles with office politics, romance, and genuine social commentary in a way nobody had attempted before. The show tackled AIDS discrimination, sexual harassment, and racism in the justice system while being genuinely entertaining. Jimmy Smits, Susan Day, Corbin Burnson, and Blair Underwood made you forget you were watching a show about lawyers. The writing was sharp enough to cut glass, and its willingness to let characters be flawed and morally complicated was revolutionary for network TV. It won the Emmy for Outstanding Drama Series 4 times. Creator Steven Bochco fought constant battles with NBC over content. The show featured one of the first openly bisexual characters on network television, CJ Lamb, played by Amanda Donahoe, and her same-sex kiss in 1991 generated a tidal wave of controversy and record-breaking viewer numbers simultaneously.
Okay, NBA rules apply. No elbows.
Number 4. Touched by an Angel, 1994 to 2003. Nobody predicted this. A show about angels helping ordinary people through personal crises, airing on CBS, quietly became one of the highest-rated dramas of the entire decade. At its peak, Touched by an Angel was drawing over 20 million viewers per episode. In a landscape dominated by gritty crime dramas, a show about divine compassion was crushing the competition. Roma Downey and Della Reese had chemistry that made the whole thing work. The writing found fresh angles on grief, addiction, guilt, and redemption week after week. It wasn't trying to be clever or to shock. It was trying to make you feel something real, and it succeeded spectacularly. Critics dismissed it, audiences embraced it, and the ratings proved sincerity was not a weakness. Della Reese suffered a near-fatal brain aneurysm during filming of the first season and returned to set just weeks after brain surgery. Her recovery was so remarkable that it became part of the show's internal mythology among the production team. Roma Downey has said the show's themes of miracles became deeply personal after watching Reese's recovery firsthand.
Well, while you're learning about human beings, I wish you'd learn to make a good cup of coffee.
Number 3. Northern Exposure, 1990 to 1995. Northern Exposure was the weirdest hit of the decade. A young doctor from New York is sent to a tiny fictional town in Alaska to repay his medical school loans. But what the show actually became was a deeply philosophical, quirky, and emotionally rich ensemble drama about community, identity, and the meaning of a well-lived life. The town of Sicily was populated by characters so eccentric and lovingly drawn that they felt more real than most people on realistic dramas. A former astronaut who runs a bar, a Native American filmmaker, a disc jockey who quotes Walt Whitman between songs. Every character had depth and an inner life the show took time to explore. It won the Emmy for Outstanding Drama Series and the Peabody Award by being completely, unapologetically itself. The show was filmed in Roslyn, Washington, not Alaska. The production transformed the small town so completely that tourists started showing up expecting to find the characters. Creator Joshua Brand originally pitched it as a comedy, but CBS wanted a drama. The compromise accidentally created one of the most unique shows in television history. Number 2. Door of what was acceptable on network television. It kicked the door down and set it on fire. When it premiered in 1993, 57 affiliate stations refused to air it. Advertisers pulled out. Conservative groups called for boycotts. The show featured partial nudity, graphic violence, and language never heard on broadcast TV. And then America watched it anyway. Because underneath the controversy was one of the most brilliantly acted police dramas ever made. Dennis Franz as Detective Andy Sipowicz delivered a performance so raw it redefined what a television protagonist could be. Sipowicz was an alcoholic, a racist, a bully, and somehow the moral center of the show, a broken man trying to be better, failing constantly, and refusing to stop trying. Stephen Bachko and David Milch treated their audience like adults. They showed the ugliness and the grace that exist in the same person at the same time. Television was never the same after it. David Caruso famously left the show after just 4 episodes of the second season to pursue a film career. The departure was bitter and very public. Caruso believed he was destined for movie stardom. His film career stalled almost immediately. Dennis Franz, who was originally a supporting player, absorbed the lead role and turned Sipowicz into one of the most iconic characters in TV history. Franz won 4 consecutive Emmy Awards for the role. Caruso didn't win any.
The gravity shelf. The laser death team? Sounds like a danger.
Number 1. ER, 1994 to 2009. Was there ever any doubt? ER didn't just dominate the 90s, it dominated television. At its peak, over 40 million Americans watched a single episode. That's not a TV show, that's a cultural institution. Created by Michael Crichton and produced by Steven Spielberg, ER took the medical drama and reinvented it with a pace, an intensity, and an emotional honesty that nothing on television had ever matched. The camera never stopped moving. The dialogue overlapped. Doctors shouted over each other while patients screamed, and the whole thing felt like you were standing in a trauma bay in real time. George Clooney became the biggest movie star on the planet because of this show, but ER was never about one actor. Anthony Edwards, Juliana Margulies, Eric LaSalle, Noah Weil. The ensemble was so deep that the show survived cast turnover that would have killed any other series. The real star was the emergency room itself. The live episode in 1997 drew over 42 million viewers. Mark Green's death in Season 8 is still one of the most devastating scenes in television history. 15 seasons, 23 Emmys. ER is number 1 because it proved television drama could be as urgent, as cinematic, and as emotionally overwhelming as anything in a movie theater. nothing has ever quite matched the feeling of watching it live on a Thursday night with your heart in your throat. Michael Crichton wrote the original screenplay for ER in 1974, 20 years before the show aired. It sat in a drawer because studios considered it too chaotic for television. The pilot was so expensive that NBC executives considered pulling the plug before it aired. It debuted on September 19, 1994, and instantly became the highest-rated new drama in years. The executives who nearly killed it took credit within a week. The 1990s understood something modern television keeps forgetting. The best dramas need characters you believe in, stories that respect your intelligence, and writing that isn't afraid to make you feel something. Every show on this list did that, some quietly, some loudly, all of them permanently. Drop a comment and tell me, which 90s drama owned your living room? Did I get the order right? Hit subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one.